Hello, everybody. My name is Matthew Currin, and I'm here with Patty. How are you doing today, Patty?
I'm great, Matthew. How are you?
Good, good. So we've been talking for about an hour, and I know a lot about you, but the audience doesn't. So just let everybody know a little bit about yourself, what you do, and that'll be great. So just go ahead.
Yeah, hello, everybody. My name is Patty Mohler. I'm a licensed mental health therapist. I've been doing this for probably 7 to 8 years, but I'm one of those people that have had a crazy career. Was a teacher at one point, painted ceramics, have a kiln in my garage. So people mind, mental, physical, spiritual, all of that combined into one. And I like to use all of that when I'm doing my therapy sessions.
Absolutely. That's where are you from? From Jacksonville?
Actually from Reno, Nevada.
Oh,
So,
no, Nevada.
yeah, so grew up on the West Coast. I'm a West Coast baby and transported here into Jacksonville, Florida, and have been here some 30 years. So I really do have to claim this as home.
Yeah.
But I'm about even right now. I got half out there and half here.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
All right, so we're going to talk about a topic. We've been talking about this, and we'll jump right into the topic about
love
finding
it.
and connecting to your better self.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, this is a great topic. So I think you and I, as counselors and people who work with people all the time, that is such an important topic, and people need to find a way to connect with their better self, and that's what we're really all striving to do. That's what this Reconvene Life series is about. So tell me your thoughts on just that topic alone.
It's huge, right? And in our work, you're right. We see so many people that are just so disconnected. I'm always amazed that at this point in our lives, we have more ways to communicate with others around the world.
Yeah,
Yet we're the most disconnected community around the world.
yeah,
We are just so disconnected from everybody. And I look at back at it as is kind of the way it's gone through history. If you look generations before you and me, Matt, there are those great sewing circles, right?
yeah.
Where generation after generation of women would come together to make the big quilt. So you have great grandmothers and grandmothers, and then we had little toddlers that are babies that were still nursing, right?
Yeah,
So all
absolutely.
those stories were taught back and forth, the morals, the values, how people thought, how do people talk? We
Yeah,
don't have that anymore.
yeah,
Our biggest way of communicating these days are with our two thumbs.
yeah,
And so that's really disconnected us. It's a way for people to hide. It's a way for people not to have to learn, what is this emotion? What does it feel like? And how do I deal with this emotion? So in those ways, we've become such a community worldwide of very disconnected people.
absolutely.
So I think people like yourself, like me, we're all trying to find ways that we can unplug, not get rid of technology. It's not
Yeah,
going
it's
anywhere.
not going anywhere. You're right.
It's not going anywhere, but we need to learn how to put boundaries, and we need to learn that the person in front of us is actually far more important than the person on the other end of a cell phone or in a video. Those connections are far more important.
Yeah. So I find a lot that there's a tremendous amount of people that all throughout the spectrum, from adults down to kids, they just don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to just carry on a conversation in a meaningful way. And I know what you do and working with people and relationships and things like that. It's so important to learn how to communicate. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we have to do that, but I think first of all, we got to back up a little bit. It's not just about the communication. So I'm going to take you back a step for
Okay.
me. It's to teach people what are emotions
Yes. I,
and how to emote. So many people have come from the we don't cry.
yeah.
Don't cry because you missed that, you struck out. We
Yeah.
don't cry over that.
Yeah.
Well, when you're 7, that's something to cry about,
Yeah.
right? So I want to start earlier with young parents. When the kid's flopping out over on the floor and having just a flat out tantrum, yes, you let it go through, but then come back and explain what that was to that child.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you totally lost it today in the store, I think you were feeling frustration that I wouldn't let you have a new toy.
Yeah.
Like, explain what that was.
Yeah.
We
Absolutely.
just kind of march on by without letting kids understand what that was. Whether, and usually when we're doing this, we talk about negative emotions. No, we need to talk about the joy, the sadness, the happiness, all the good ones too. I just did a group over the weekend on codependence, and
Yep.
one person spoke up and said there were two emotions that were allowed in my home: anger and sadness.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So if you don't know any other thing than that, you don't know how to get excited about being at a baseball game. You don't know how to get excited over a great cup of coffee because you were never allowed to express it.
Yeah.
I work with clients all the time that when we just were doing this yesterday, that when somebody comes in and says, "Oh, actually, you just weren't allowed to have any kind of emotion or rile my mother up." So as soon as that person sees mom get upset, and be told, "Hey, go to your room right now,"
Yeah.
that child perceives that as they did something wrong. What they don't know is mom might just have been fired from her job. Her husband might have come home and said, "I want a divorce." But because it was never explained to that child, they take on the responsibility of everybody else's feelings.
Yeah.
And so that, though, leads into the communication. Once we know what we feel and we're emoting, then we learn how to communicate. And to me, it's about sitting down and really listening. The best part of communicating is
Ah,
not necessarily our words, it's how actively are we listening.
that is the hardest skill of all communication,
Yeah.
is learning how to listen and just sit back. A lot of people, we listen to the first couple of sentences and then we automatically have the solution. Hey, Patty, I know what you need to do.
Yes.
Do this, and I'm going to tell you everything that you need to do. When, in a sense, I need to sit there and listen. In a
Yeah.
lot of ways, you already know what you might want to do or what you need to do, or I might be able to connect and say, well, hey, here's something I think, or but it's learning how to listen. And people don't know how to listen. They really don't.
No, we don't know how to listen. And the other thing, I have great skills to teach people how to listen. The other thing that we love to do is that we love to give advice.
Yeah, that's it.
And people don't want advice.
Hmm.
We really want to be seen, heard, and validated,
Yes.
but we don't want advice. We probably know our own solution. We're probably just wanting to vent.
Yeah.
So I have a rule. I have a rule, Matt, that if you came to me and said, "I really want advice on this," first of all, I'm going to ask you, "So, Matt, do you really want advice or do you just want to vent?"
Yeah.
And you'd probably go, "Well, no, I really want advice." And I'd go, "Okay." I'd listen to your story. And then at the end of it, I'd say, "You're either going to have an aha moment because you talked yourself through the whole thing
Yeah.
and I no longer needed, which is awesome.
Yep.
Or I'm going to say again, 'Hey, Matt, are you sure you want some advice?'"
Yeah.
"Yeah, no, I really, really do want advice." "So you really want me to respond to your scenario?"
Yeah.
"Yes, I do." I wait for 3 yeses before I volunteer
Yeah.
any information. And people, if they would slow down to do that, it usually is somebody will vent and they'll go, "God, now I know exactly what I need to do. Thanks for helping." And you're going, "Great, didn't do a thing."
Yeah. I just listen. That's right.
Yeah,
But you're absolutely right. And yeah, you're so right. People don't listen, and they spring butt, so to speak. They just have this
yeah,
solution. I'm going to tell you what your solution is. And half the time you don't even, yeah, well, half the time your solution is not what they want to hear. It's just what you think. But
right.
half the time they don't even get out the full story to you. And
No,
they might not even be to the core problem or the core
right.
thing that they're going through. You didn't let them get there. And so you have to let them talk through it and get there.
Especially with our kids. I
Yes.
see this all the time with our kids. We rob them of the ability to come up with their own solutions
Yes.
because we're so busy thinking, "Oh, this is the right way to do it." Who said our way's the right way? And you're right. We just don't stop and kind of do that. But I really see that. I see it a lot with couples. Well, I'm going to back off of that. I see it with everybody, right? I see it with girlfriends that do it. Um, and again, I think it just robs the other person of that ability to do solutions for themselves.
Yeah.
They want to be able to, and they have the answer. Here's my thing as a therapist: each one of us knows ourselves better than anyone else. I
Yes.
can sit with you for 1,000 hours and you still know yourself better.
Yeah.
So I need to allow you that space to think. And I think that's why they come to therapy, right? They
Absolutely.
don't want judgment. They want somebody to listen to them.
Listen.
Some people want quick answers, but what they realize is doing the work and finding the answer themselves is far better.
Yeah. So I want to go back to what you said, because my wife and I had this conversation yesterday. We were just talking about it. We were talking about our daughter and dating, because she's
Oh boy.
15 and all that. I know, and here I am, the Marine dad and all that. But well, that's another story. You have to listen to me for that about that later.
Yeah.
But it was that we were just having the conversation is that you have to allow kids to go through the process
Yeah.
and learn how to make decisions. I think one of our major issues today in what we're talking about, finding and connecting to a better self and just self awareness is we don't let our kids go out and make decisions. And a lot of times I think parents look at it and they say, well, we can't let them make the bad decisions that we made. But that's how we
Mm,
learned. We learned through going through those
yeah.
process, through those dating process is, and, through the relationship and through just having our friends and all the different things.
Yeah.
And I think in today's society, we're robbing our kids of that experience in a lot of
Absolutely.
ways, you know?
Well, go back to even with the kids. Um, I'd rather have them make decisions when they're little.
Yeah.
What a silly choice. It's raining out. Do we want to go play outside or find something inside? I mean, that seems like an easy decision for the parent. They want to stay
Yeah.
inside. But we do rob our kids of that experience. And I always tell parents, especially with banking, and I say, your kid should be set up with
Yep.
a checking account and all that kind of stuff by time they're 12 or 13, if you're really trying to launch them by time they go to college.
Yeah.
And parents will look at me and go, are you nuts? And I said, would you rather have them make a $200 mistake or a $20,000 mistake?
Exactly. And we are in line on that because
Yeah.
we did that with all of our kids. When they were
Yeah.
13, they were walking out and they had their own banking account, they had their own debit card, they're managing, and I think that's important. Now, I will tell you that's because I'm looking at, and I'm an open book with my kids, right?
Yeah.
Me and my wife we're open book and we have open lines of communication, which is so important because there's nothing I hide. Okay, I made the mistake here. I made the
Yep.
mistake here. This is what I did. You can learn from it. And I think
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And I think those kids want to hear both sides of that. Giving kids an option, do you like A or B, and letting them figure that out. One of the things I try to help my parents with, Matt, is I try to get families to do a family meeting. It's a half an hour. It's more of a business meeting. The first question asked in this meeting is what went really well this week and what didn't go so great
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
Everybody goes around, but the important thing is that every family member, either once a week, once a month, runs the family meeting.
That's cool.
So I had a little kid come up to mom the other day and go, my family meeting is going to be Friday night in the park, and it's going to be a pizza party.
I like it.
And mom was originally called me and goes, do we go with this? And I said, go with it. Yes. It's like, that's what he wants to
That's
do.
what he
Like,
wants to do. He's going to run this, meeting.
go have it. And she came back and told me that it was just great,
I love
that
that.
they had a blast. The other thing I get to do is when, like, let's say there's a punishment in the what didn't go so well. I had the parents teach the kids to write 3 different kind of discipline actions in a jar, and that mom and dad get to pick it out.
Yeah.
And that's the one. And 9 times out of 10, the discipline's far worse than mom and dad were ever going to do anyway.
Absolutely.
But it gives those kids ownership in the family. It gives them ownerships in their decision. Wow, did I really say I can't play video games for a
Yeah.
week?
No
Would you really
Fortnite.
have gone with it if I had said a day? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, but now
Yeah.
I have to live with that consequence
I
because
have to
I
own it.
placed it. Yeah.
Well,
So
that's
I think that's a great thing.
it's a reality of life, right? There's consequences to our actions.
Yeah.
We have to teach everyone, not just not just kids, but we got even us as adults. There's consequences to our actions, and you need to
Yeah.
go through the process and think through it and know that if you do A, you might get B. So
You're
think
right.
and learn from it. You know. Now that's awesome advice, and I love that advice because, again, I've always been an open book. as a parent, my son and daughters, my daughter's in college, my son's out on his real world, and I want to fix it. I just want to fix it.
Yeah, me
I
too.
want to fix it. And I was
Hardest
having
thing
the
to do as a parent.
well, I was having the conversation this morning about my son, and he's out in the corporate world, and he's working hard. And somebody said, and I was talking about how he's working hard, and he's talking about the whole work-life balance thing, and knowing, again, it's back part of this time, knowing yourself, knowing what you can do, and finding that balance. And the person said to me, "He's doing well. Let him go through the process. Let him.
Yeah.
You can guide him. I can give him my thoughts, my advice, but he has to go through it. I can't fix it."
Well, we've got a great little nickname for me trying to quote fix things, because
Yeah,
that's, by the way, Matt, you and I know this, it's our codependence
yeah,
jumping in there. So my son Alex and I have a code word, and it's called mom mode.
yeah.
So mom mode means I want to fix, not just sit there and listen to you. I want to fix. And so sometimes I'll say, "Can I go into mom mode?" And he'll literally go, "You have 1 minute."
I love it.
And I have 1 minute to be able to say, "You should, you need, go do this." And then he'll literally say, "You're done."
Yeah,
Or he'll say, "No, no mom mode on board today." And I'll be like, "Okay, sounds overwhelming. Wow."
or he might come back and ask you a question or continue the conversation if he chooses to, and all that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
But again, I think we've found a loving way and a joking way
that's a
to
good.
go, "Wow, I so want to intervene as a mom." And it's like,
Yeah,
"Didn't call you as a mom."
yeah.
Okay, mom mode's not happening. So, I mean, that's our way to just make
It is.
light of, can I have permission to be a mom for just a minute, not just
Yeah,
somebody on the sidelines?
it is. It is.
Yeah,
No, I think that's wonderful, and I think it's so important that we find those balances. Uh,
yeah,
and we again, going back to one of our what we started talking about, is connecting to your better self and helping others connect to their better self, and by knowing who you are, and this builds on the interview that I did the other day with Grace and Marshall, but knowing who you are helps you help others to become who they are.
yeah. And Matt, here's a good one that I want to really help people with. And it's the question why.
Yeah,
And you kind of went back to it or alluded to it earlier in a little different sense, that as soon as somebody starts talking, we formulate those things in our
yeah,
brain that we want to say. So, but one of the things that I really try to help people learning about yourself and who you are, and learning about others, is to totally get rid of the why question.
yeah,
Why questions are judgment questions.
exactly. That's
They
the
usually come out of childhood. Why'd you get a bad grade? Why'd you go down the street without asking? Why'd you spill the milk? So it comes with a lot of guilt and shame for most people.
mhm,
Why did I just do that? Why didn't I leave? It's all judgment, it's
yeah,
negative thinking. And when we change that to words of curiosity, it's the whodunit questions,
yeah,
right? What, why, how, tell
yeah,
me more.
absolutely.
We open the conversation up. Why did you do that? Well, yeah, you want to
Yeah,
defend yourself, and you just feel
absolutely.
guilty right off the
Yeah,
bat. Tell me more about that. The person will go on. My great example of that is a little kid comes home with a C on their report card.
yeah,
Mom or dad looks at it and goes, "Why'd you get a C in biology?" Well,
yeah,
they stammer, they feel horrible. Mom and dad look at that and kind of try to do their best to stay expressionless and say, "Hey, tell me about this C on the report card." "Oh my gosh, if you knew 2 weeks ago I had an F,
yeah,
I got it up to a C. It's the best. I feel
yeah,
so good about this."
yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, then a parent can build on the strength, and then we can go back and find out, like, what was going on 2 weeks ago. The child will open up and just expound on what it is. So when
Yeah,
we're talking about communicating, don't ask, "Matt, why are you wearing those headphones?"
yeah,
Versus
absolutely.
just being able to say, "Matt, tell me about the headphones you have on your head." It's
Yeah,
a total different
it's a
question.
total different conversation.
And it
Exactly.
goes from negative thinking when I ask myself, "Why did I stay?" If we're taking an abusive relationship, why did I stay?
Yeah.
It just feels
So you're
negative.
placing, yeah, you are. You're placing blame on yourself, and
Yeah.
you're not going to move past it. You're just going to internalize that and beat
Yeah.
yourself up. Absolutely.
What made me stay?
Yeah.
Wow, I was told, and that just changes the story. It gives us something to work for and with.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up, and Patty's going to be back. Again, I'm convincing everybody to come back and do
Yeah.
multiple experiences with me, multiple interviews. So let's build on that, because I told you at the end that I would ask you a question that you can give to the
Yeah.
listeners. So, what is your advice that people can take to connect and finding their better self? And just let's build on what you were just talking about, because I think I said we might walk into it, but just build on what you were just talking about. How can they learn to ask themselves better questions and get more positive results instead of beating themselves up?
Yeah, so just a suggestion, because I don't give advice.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just a suggestion is be aware of the why word. How
Yeah.
often do you ask it of yourself? How often do you ask it of others? If you can make that one change, getting from that question to the who done it questions, tell me more, what, why, how, not why. But if you could just do that, and even about yourself,
Yeah.
they tell us today that we say 30,000 negative messages to ourselves a day.
Wow.
Think of that, 30,000 negative
Yeah.
messages. And a lot of those are why questions. Why did I forget the milk?
Yeah.
It makes it feel like you were an idiot because you
Yeah.
get 50 other things on your mind and you didn't walk by the milk. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but that actually becomes a negative
Yeah.
thought. So, my suggestion to people are be aware of the why word.
Yeah.
How many times can you say, hey, do you mind if I reframe that? Or just ask it again. Hey, I didn't mean to say it that way. Rephrase it.
Yeah.
Notice how many times you ask that of yourself, and see if you can even get more curious about yourself. I heard a great one the other day. So if you're curious is taking a vacation from judgment. Don't
Yeah.
you love that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Curious is taking a vacation from judgment. And so judgment or why questions are judgment questions. Let's get rid of them.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome advice, because yeah, it just helps us not be so judgmental. And
Yeah.
that's the bottom line. There's so much judgment that goes on. There's so much negative messaging that goes on. And so
Yeah.
we can just move past that. It can make a huge difference
Yeah.
in people's lives. So Patty, I really appreciate you being on this. We're going to do it again next week. We'll come up with another topic, and we'll just keep building on it.
Fantastic. Yeah,
Uh,
I loved it. It was
yeah.
fun.
We had a great time. What you missed is we talked for 45 minutes before we recorded this, and we could have talked for another 45 minutes to 5 hours and just not stop. So we have a lot to talk about, a lot to share. We talked about kids and sports. We talked about all kinds of things. So more to come. So Patty, thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt, for having me. Have a great day.
You too.